रोटियां गोल क्यों होती है?
रोटी गोल क्यों होती है? क्योंकि रोटी गोल होती है। ऑन कैमरा एक्शन बोलती कुछ हो जाता है बॉडी के अंदर। वो पहली टेक पे रोटी गोल बन गई यार।
Anybody you really want to cook for?
I would like to cook a special meal for John F. Kennedy.
What is the one quality of Tarla ji that you think you're carrying with you now?
I hope her charm, man. I hope I have the Tarla charm. Hi guys, मैं हूँ हुमा कुरैशी और आप देख रहे हैं और बताओ स्तुति के साथ।
Hi guys, मैं हूँ स्तुति और बताओ में स्वागत है आपका and I'm going to jump straight in and ask my guest today, Huma Qureshi, रोटियां गोल क्यों होती है?
रोटी गोल क्यों होती है? क्योंकि रोटी गोल होती है।
हमने ट्रेलर में सिर्फ सवाल सुना तो हमें लगा जवाब
भी यही है क्योंकि रोटी गोल होती है। और अगर आपको इससे बेटर जवाब चाहिए तो आपको पिक्चर देखनी पड़ेगी जो कि आ रही है 7 जुलाई को। देखा क्या प्लग इन किया मैंने? स्तुति मैं सीख रही हूँ, देख तुझसे सीख रही हूँ।
नहीं हम आपसे सीख रहे हैं, आप तो सीखी सिखाई है। ओके, यू नो हाउ डिफरेंट इट इज व्हेन यू गेट टू प्ले अ कैरेक्टर जो एक रियल लाइफ किरदार पे बेस्ड है। थोड़ी अलग स्ट्रेस होता है।
स्कैरी, वेरी स्कैरी, बिकॉज आई फील लाइक कहीं ना कहीं आप एक दायरे में होते हो कि अच्छा आप वो इंसान के मोटा मोटा ये पैरामीटर्स थे। सो एंड ऑफ कोर्स बिकॉज Tarla ji has been such a living legend, her family still there, I've met her children who of course are much older than me, you know, and so थोड़ा प्रेशर ये होता है कि she was so loved and so celebrated, so I'm like I hope I do justice to her legacy, I hope I do justice to how she was, because I never met her, right? So my only reference is all the interviews and her cookery show and her books, but it's still limited. It's not knowing the real person.
Yeah.
But then I keep meeting, like what you just overheard little while ago, like people coming up and her family. In fact, her daughter Renu also told me, saying like you really captured the spirit of my mother. And I was like, wow, that's like
such a special compliment.
Yeah, that's such a special comment, right? And a compliment. So yeah, I mean, and I think the credit has to go to Piyush, my director, you know, the writers of the film. Ital, my accent teacher, who helped me, you know, decode the Tarla accent, क्योंकि मैं तो North से, जैसे आपको पता है. And Tarla ji was a Gujarati, you know, who also lived in APNC Road, and she's a very specific way of talking. And उनकी मजेदार बात ये थी कि वो कभी भी as a presenter बात नहीं करती थी. She used to talk like a very affable lady from your neighborhood. वो कैसे बात करते हैं. And that's how she would host, and that is what made her very endearing. So I wanted to capture that. So we really had to work very hard on the Tarla speech pattern, which we try to decode.
You know, this story, I know a lot of people are looking forward to see the film because उन्होंने जिस तरीके से vegetarian cooking and एक पूरी generation of women, because there was a time जब आप शादी कर रहे हो और आपको खाना बनाना नहीं आता, was a big deal.
Yes.
So many women have actually read her cookbooks and you know tried to just follow in her footsteps. What was the reaction at home? What did your mom say? Did she have some special memory, or do you remember seeing Tarla?
Both of my mom and dad had a fantastic reaction. My dad anyway is a foodie and is a restaurant owner, and you know, so he gets very excited. So I did a film back in the day called Love Sabda Chicken Khurana. That time also he was very excited, and now with Tarla, so you know, he really feels in some way कि अच्छा मेरे बच्चे ना एक्टिंग ही कर रहे हैं मगर उसपे भी मेरा नाम कहीं ना कहीं आगे लेके जा रहे हैं. So I think he gets that little bit of pride. After seeing the trailer, he loved it so much. He said, you know what, मेरे को ये बटाटा मुसल्लम डिश सलीम्स में सर्व करनी है. So I'm going to serve it over there. So I was like, that's such a sweet idea. Like, please do it.
And you know, मेरा ध्यान अभी क्या, अच्छा I'll just down
Google की क्या
recipe क्या है, and I'm going to order. So you know, since you brought up Salim's, and of course हम तो दिल्ली वाले तो मतलब हमारी अपनी बात है.
क्या बात है हमारी?
Own it up. While shooting this film, because आपका relationship with food, you know, your family runs this restaurant. Your mom is known to cook really nice food. You love food, like you said, you've done films.
I love feeding people. My house is always like, आ जाओ खाना खा लो, क्या खाओगे, मतलब ऐसे वाला.
तो इस फिल्म को जब आप शूट कर रहे थे, तो how much of that relationship you had to build with what you were you actually cooking?
I was actually cooking.
Were you actually tasting?
Of course, they had like the food, क्या बोलते हैं उसको, curators or food, like you know, who shoot, क्या बोलते हैं उसको, कुछ word होता है ना क्या?
Food connoisseurs?
No. It's food stylists.
Oh, style, yeah.
So of course we had those food stylists who actually designed, you know, because the food has to look a certain way. तो उसकी शूटिंग एक स्पेसिफिक तरीके से होती है, उसकी स्टाइलिंग होती है एक तरीके से, जो मुझे भी नहीं पता था. मैंने डिस्कवर किया कि अच्छा ये भी है, ऐसा भी होता है क्या, कि मतलब जब वो ऐसे तड़का पड़े तो वो लगना चाहिए कि वो देख के आपको ना मुंह में पानी आना चाहिए. तो उसकी अलग तरीके की एक शूटिंग स्टाइल होता है. तो ऑफ कोर्स दोस गाइज वर देयर एंड दे आर वेरी गुड इन एन एबल टीम. बट लॉट ऑफ चॉपिंग आई डिड. एक बार पीयूष ने बोला मुझे कि अच्छा ये रोटी बना लो, तो पता नहीं वो स्ट्रेस में, एंड आई डोंट थिंक आई कैन एवर, इफ यू आस्क मी नाउ टू मेक अ गोल रोटी, बट वो स्ट्रेस में ना, क्योंकि वो मैं ऑन कैमरा एक्शन बोलती कुछ हो जाता है बॉडी के अंदर. वो पहली टेक में रोटी गोल बन गई यार.
Not bad.
So I was like, don't tell my mother, because now she said, अच्छा आज तो तुम रोटी बनाओ, तो मैं फंस जाऊंगी.
But can you cook? Does the real Huma Qureshi, can she cook?
I can cook. I just find like cooking time नहीं मिलता, to be honest. और कोई reason नहीं है. But I really enjoy eating. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy hosting people. So I mean, you know, and I feel like for me, if I have a couple of days off, like cooking, listening to some music, and making like a thing out of it with all my friends, I think I would really enjoy that. Yeah.
So coming back to how I started this interview, कि रोटियां गोल क्यों होती है? In a way, it's also a metaphor to question the stereotype कि ये चीज ऐसे ही क्यों है?
Correct.
And आपने अपने career में तो बड़े ही प्यार से you've tuned and thrown away all those stereotypes. But what are some of the things that you still feel कि ये अभी भी industry में change नहीं हुआ?
No, you're right. Actually, बहुत प्यारी लाइन लिखी है पीयूष ने कि रोटी गोल क्यों होती है, you know, because I think it somewhere questions the conformity जो हमको डाला जाता है society as. And we never question. हाँ ऐसे होता है, चलने दो, चलता है तो and it's a beautiful way that how Tarla Dalal one day is sleeping and she's like, रोटी गोल क्यों होती है, कुछ भी हो सकती है, but why गोल, like why so much pressure on poor roti? And there's a full like dialogue, she says कि पराठा तो गोल, triangle कुछ भी होता है, अगर रोटी पे ही गोल होने का pressure क्यों? So almost like sometimes as women also there's so much pressure, right? What you said earlier about like कि अच्छा शादी होगी तो खाना बनाना आना चाहिए और ये आना चाहिए, वो आना चाहिए. So I feel like somewhere and because through her journey what you're trying to show is, of course she was India's first OG master chef. She was the first woman to have her own cookbook, her own cookery show, the Padma Shri winner, awardee. So I feel like you know she really was, when she was told कि अच्छा तुमको शादी करके बस खाना बनाना है, but she really cooked her way out of that space and inspired so many people. So for me, like this is such a story that I think is like an ode to all our mothers. You know, who really are the OG feminists. You know, they were the first ones who went out there, they worked, they handled family को, बच्चों को, career को कैसे संभालना है, and कैसे वो foundation stones रखें कि आज हम सब, you know, our career women or going out or doing whatever, you know, we all can follow our life path with, I think, a lot more stability. You know, and I think she really has to be celebrated for what she did for all of us.
And in so many ways, आपने अभी, you know, अगर मैं आपके बाकी shows और films की बात करूँ, मतलब kitchen से निकली हैं किसी में और यहाँ आप kitchen में वापस गई हैं. So you know, you definitely are kind of like everywhere.
Thank
kitchen
you.
हो, बाहर हो. Also, it's so refreshing, Huma, for somebody like you. You're in an industry where how you look matters the most. कि आपकी कितनी healthy relationship है with food. आप दिल खोल के खाने के बारे में बात करते हो. Not many people are able to do that. And I want you to speak particularly to the younger audience, to women who feel this pressure कि कहीं पे खाना becomes the villain in our lives because we all have to look a particular way, be a particular size. How have you managed that?
I feel like, yeah, I think, to be honest, if I can say it bluntly, I feel everybody, I look around, I think a lot of people have a very unhealthy relationship with food. Whether it's either extreme deprivation or starvation, or it's overindulgence. You know, so when I look around, I feel everybody has a very like twisted relationship with food, and I feel, food has to be enjoyed. Food is nourishment. And as an actor, like I've put on weight, lost weight for different characters. Like for Tarla, also I had to, you know, play from 20 to my 50s. So, and I remember I just came from XXL and I started shooting for this. So we shot the later portions first, and then I lost the weight. And so my 20s had to be really like, you know, tiny. And I feel like as tiny as my structure can get. So I feel like, but you can actually see that in the film, right? It makes a lot of difference. So for me, I think if you treat food as something to be enjoyed, and something not to be like shunned away or embarrassed about or whatever. And I feel like, I mean, young people today have a lot of like pressure to look a certain way, which is always not done the correct way. Like I'm all for like looking beautiful and fashion and like gorgeous bodies, but I feel there has to be like a realistic expectation that we're setting out for young boys and girls, which I feel is not there. Because, you know, we all see these airbrushed images, you know, with 20,000 filters on Instagram, and that's not reality. But also, honestly speaking, there's a big movement now in fashion and otherwise also in films as well to try and
own your real skin,
to see the wrinkles, to see the lines, to see the pores, because that is actually beautiful. You know, that is real.
Super. Now, if you were to cook a meal for someone special, वो कौन
होगा? ऐसे बता दूँ?
anybody you really want to cook for?
Acha, like that you're asking. कुछ भी बोल सकते हैं यार. I would like to cook a special meal for John F. Kennedy.
Very safe answer also.
Of course.
John F. Kennedy कोई जो बेचारे actually चख के हमें बता सके कि हुमा अच्छा खाना बनाती है.
कोई अभी के चखेंगे तो वहीं पहुंच जाएंगे.
Okay, now as an actor, Huma, I don't know, I could be wrong, but it looks like you're really having the time of your life. Okay, it comes across in your promotional interviews. It comes across when you're playing those characters on screen. अभी और क्या बचा है? और क्या play
बहुत कुछ बचा है यार. अभी तो I तो feel now I'm sort of trying to understand what I can do. I think when I started off, I was a bit scared, bit nervous, wasn't sure what my place was, what I wanted to do, what I could do. I was also learning on the job, right? Nobody launched me in that sense or taught me anything. So I feel finally after working 10 years, now I'm finally confident, like, okay, this is what I can do, this is what I'd like to do. And for me right now, yes, I am having a blast because I'm only picking characters and roles which have got nothing to do with each other. So if before Tarla I did a Monica, before that I did a Double XL, before I did a Maharani, I'm just having fun and I'm not trying to be like, oh, this is my image or this is what I have to be. Because I also feel like it's unfortunate, but women mostly in a lot of our films still need to be just seen and look beautiful and not do much. And I feel like, no, you know, I mean, like
I'm done with that.
I'm done with that, and I feel like I can do more. Make me do more. Let me contribute. You know, as opposed to just like, you know, looking fashionable.
You've also turned a producer.
I've also turned producer. Yes, so I'm also like looking at more like female forward narratives and stories, and not just that, but I'm saying in general, just write better parts for women because you know, and right now thanks to the whole OTT wave, also you see so many women like doing these amazing shows and films and really like creating a market for ourselves. And that I feel is like going to be so inspiring for the next lot of actors that are going to come into the business and for audiences as well.
So finally, generally जब आप कोई किरदार play करते हो ना, something of that character stays with you. बहुत ही enduring character है ये. From the trailer we can make out. What is the one quality of Tarla ji that you think you're carrying with you now?
I hope her charm, man. I hope I have the Tarla charm. But you know, while playing her, something very funny happens. So अभी promotion हाल फिलहाल में promotions के लिए कभी-कभी I have to do the whole look, the Tarla look, because we are doing a bunch of brands or whatever. And I thought I was a little nervous कि मेरे को इतना समय हो गया, मतलब काफी महीने हो गए, शूटिंग खत्म हो गई ना, and I have to speak the same way and the mannerisms and all of that. But the moment I put on the sari and the hair and the teeth, something just changes. I don't know what it is. It's almost like वो ऐसे कुछ आ जाता है अंदर. So I find that like quite spooky and quite special. But yeah, I just hope you know, she has a very quiet, sort of very soft feminism. Which I feel is forgotten now. I think right now everyone is so angry and toxic and like aggressive about like making a point and fighting for rights. And I feel like नहीं मतलब इतना गुस्सा होने की जरूरत नहीं. आराम से प्यार से भी कर सकते हो. मतलब I feel as a woman you should not lose the softness that you have, you know, or the grace that you have, or the elegance that you have. और आपको अगर अपने rights के लिए लड़ना भी है, तो आप प्यार से भी कर सकते हो यार. ऐसा कोई इतना aggressive होने की जरूरत नहीं है. So I feel like that is what she really, you know, Tarla Dalal really stood for, because she did cook, you know, and she was a mother, and she took care of her family, and she did all of those things, and yet she did change the landscape, her own identity and landscape for so many other women. You know, they're like, oh, if she can do it, so can we.
True. Super. This was so much fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.